tension members. First section will be known as your L section, or in other words, you know what is this type of section you have? It is an angle section, ISA angle section. Okay, so this is one leg. Okay, so that is your generally your outstanding leg. Then the leg which connects is known as your connecting leg. Then this is the thickness of the leg. So it will be known as L section or your angle section or your ISA angle section. The second type of section is your T section. Okay, the third type of section used is known as your C section or your channel section. The fourth is combination of two two L sections or two ISA sections which are placed back to back. Okay, two ISA sections placed back to back. Okay, then here also we'll be finding out something called as your slenderness ratio. Okay, so here also we'll be finding out what is the slenderness ratio of your section. And slenderness ratio, as you all know, it is represented by your symbol lambda. What is your slenderness ratio? It is the ratio of your effective length of the member divided by your minimum radius of gyration. I repeat, slenderness ratio is the ratio of your effective length to the minimum radius of gyration. Okay, so that is a formula. Then we take L effective, be it any type of section here. We, in the design of tension members, we consider L effective to be equal to 0.85 times your original length. I repeat, slenderness ratio is the ratio of your effective length to the minimum radius of gyration. In the design of tension members, be it any type of section out of these four, we are going to consider your effective length to be equal to 0.85 times your original length, or in other words, 85% of the length of your tension member is effective in taking up your load. That is the meaning of it. Okay. Then suppose they ask you to find the reversal of stresses. There are two conditions which you have to know. One condition is your lambda should not be greater than 180. Whatever value of your slenderness ratio you get, it should not be greater than 180. The second condition what you have is your slenderness ratio lambda should not be greater than 350. When are these two conditions used? Both the conditions are used for the reversal of stresses. If they say there is a reversal of stresses, what is the meaning of reversal of stresses? Say your compressive type of your stress is being reversed into a tensile type of your stress, or vice versa. So that is meant by your reversal of your stresses. The nature of the stress changes. It can become from compressive to tensile or from tensile to positive. Okay, so for reversal of stresses other than wind load, we are going to use this formula. Okay, I mean, we are going to use this condition. Lambda should not be greater than 180 for reversal of stresses for loads other than wind load. That is for your dead load, live load. We are going to use that lambda should not be greater than 180. So for reversal of stresses for loads other than your wind load. Okay. And your lambda should not be greater than 350. This condition is used for the reversal of stresses due to wind load. Okay, so always due to wind load, you have a greater value of your slenderness ratio. So for wind load, we take a higher value, 350. For your normal loading conditions, the lambda should be within your 180 limit. For if there is wind load, that time your lambda value should be within 350, because wind is a dynamic type of your load, as you all know. Okay, so that is the reason we give a higher margin of slenderness ratio, that is 350 mm for the reversal stress condition. This you have to know. Why, like in the question they may ask you, find the reversal of stresses. So when they tell you to find the reversal of stresses, you should know whether that is due to your wind load or due to your normal load, such as your dead load and your live load. Why do we have a greater value here? The reason being, your wind load is a dynamic type of your load. Dynamic means it is a load which varies in intensity. You cannot tell at every moment the intensity of wind is same. It is going to vary from time to time. That is the meaning of your dynamic type of your load. Okay, then coming to your design steps. Okay, for the design of your tension members, we use page number 32 and 33 of your IS 800. I repeat, it's very easy. This module, you will just be using 2 page numbers. All the formulas required are present in these 2 page numbers, just like your bolted connections. You have to know to use the formula from your code book. Similarly, in the design of your tension members, all the formulas which are required in our design problems are present in page number 32 and page number 33 of your IS 800 2007. Okay, so the first step in the design of your tension members is design strength due to yielding. Okay, there are 3 steps in the design of your tension members. The first step is your design strength due to yielding. Okay, so when yielding present, it is present in your page number 32. Okay, design strength due to yielding is in your page number 32. You can just check, or else when I'm doing the problem, I'll show you that how we are using the formula. Okay, so design strength due to yielding, the formula is in your page number 32. Okay, so the formula is, this formula is in your code book, page number 32. TDG is equal to AG into Fi divided by gamma m naught. What is the meaning of TDG? TDG stands for your design strength, stands for tension. Now we are designing the tension member, correct? So the letter T stands for tension. So this is D stands for design. So design strength due to your yielding of the section. The formula is AG F but your gross area. Okay, AG is nothing but your gross area. Fi depends on the grade of your steel. Suppose we use Fe 415 grade of your steel, then your yield strength will be 250 Newton per mm square divided by your gamma m naught. Gamma m naught is your partial safety factor, which is equal to 1.10, or you get it from table number 5, page number 30 of your IS 800. So always this is the first step, that is finding out your design strength due to your yielding. The second step in the design of your tension members is finding your design strength due to rupture. Okay, the second step is to find the design strength due to your rupture. What is the formula? This formula also is in your page number 32 of your IS 800. The formula is TDN is equal to 0.9 AN FU divided by gamma M1. Okay, this formula also is in into the thickness of your plate. Yes or no? Your gross area you will get if you multiply B cross T, or if you multiply the width of the plate into the thickness of your plate, you're going to get your gross area. Now here what I'm using, AN stands for your net area, N stands for net area. Okay, so if you have to find your net area in the code book itself, immediately where they'll give you the explanation in your code book, no? So there they're saying where AN is equal to net area, and the net area given by your code book is AN is equal to B minus of NDN plus summation of PS square divided by 4G into T. We have used similar formula in the design of your bolted connections. If you remember, wherever we had zigzag type of your bolting, okay, wherever we had zigzag type of your bolting, there we had used this net area formula. AN was B. What was B? B is your width of the plate minus N. What did N stand for? The number of bolts in your critical section. Okay, so number of bolts along your critical section into DN stands for your dia of your bolt hole, DN or DH, whatever, it stands for your dia plus PS square. What is PS square? It is nothing but your staggered pitch. PS stands for your staggered pitch divided by 4G. G is nothing but your gauge distance, which you're going to get from your steel table, into T. T is nothing but your thickness of your plate. Okay, so don't worry, this formula is in your code book. Just you have to know what each of your terms stands for. B stands for your width, width. N stands for the number of bolts along your critical section. DH stands for your dia of your bolt hole. Okay, PS square is your staggered pitch, and G is your gauge distance. T is your thickness of your plate. So that is your second step in the design of your tension members. We need to find what is a design strength due to rupture, or what is the meaning of rupture. So suppose say you have a plate like this, whatever I'm drawing is your plate now. Okay, so this plate is being subject to a tensile type of your force. This plate is being subjected to a tensile type of your force. Now I have two plates together. So I have one more plate like this. Just imagine. Okay, this is one plate which is being placed one above the other. Just imagine you have two rectangular plates placed one above the other. So from your top view, it is going to look like this. The solid line is your bottom plate, and this dotted line is going to be your top plate. Okay, so how are those two plates being connected? Suppose I am taking a bolted type of a connection. So bolts will be used to connect the two plates which are placed one below the other. Now what can happen if we do not provide sufficient edge distance? This is nothing but your edge distance from the edge of the plate till the center of your bolt. That is your edge distance. So if you don't provide enough edge distance, there is going to be a crack which will be developed. Okay, here crack will develop if we do not provide minimum edge distance. What is the minimum edge distance to be provided? The same formula what you use, 1.7 into D naught is your minimum edge distance what you have to provide. So if you do not provide the minimum edge distance of 1.7 times your D naught, that time what can happen? From the edge of your plate, the cracks can develop. Okay, cracks can develop from here. So if the crack develops, the entire section may fail in a particular pattern. So that is meant by your rupture. So we are trying to find if there is a rupture, what is to prevent the rupture, what is the strength required? Say there is some insufficient edge distance, or if the connection angle. Okay, the last step is finding out your rupture strength for your angle. Okay, angle, whenever I use the term angle,